Good evening. My name is Jimmy Sullivan. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction here at Rutherford County Schools. This evening we wanted to briefly talk to you about a contingency plan that we are having for opening the second semester. We realize that with current trends with COVID and how our schools operate in this environment, we need to potentially have a plan in place for how we will begin in January. A lot of that is built around a goal to prioritize learning, in-person learning, for our youngest students and those who may be at most risk to have a learning deficit or may have some type of environment to where we need to prepare with them and work with them in person. There are a couple things that we really want to talk about with this contingency plan. First and foremost, we want to make sure that we are giving advance notice. We understand the logistical challenges that any time a large school district or any school district has to make changes, and we definitely value and support that as a parent, that we want to give you that advanced option. We also want to make sure that we're transparent in the different difficulties we have on a daily basis so that you understand where some of our decisions are coming from. This hybrid approach, we also believe in parent options. So if you have chosen distance learning for your child already for the third 9 weeks, nothing is going to change for you. You don't need to do anything different. That option is still there for all parents. And in fact, if you, after hearing about our hybrid approach, need to change and you feel like for consistency, you need to switch to all distance learning, when our schools reopen on January 4th and 5th, they will be happy to work with you on that. This is a hybrid approach, and again, it's a contingency, but there are a couple things we know for sure. First, we are going to open in a distance learning only format January 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. We already had that scheduled as a flex day for January 5th, a Tuesday. We're going to continue that for the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Again, we understand the hardship that this causes on some of our parents and many of our students, but coming out of the holiday season and the event of potentially opening and then having to close and quarantine schools, we felt like this was best for all. That will mean for January 5th through 8th, we will not have students in our buildings. Priority is going to be asynchronous or already predetermined and recorded lessons for our students. Our individual schools will be sending individual plans on January 4th for what the rest of that week looks like. The next thing to talk about is this hybrid approach. So starting with January 11th. Again, that distance learning option is there for everyone. And if you've chosen that, you are perfectly fine to continue with that. There's nothing else you need to do. For our parents who are choosing a traditional option, we are going to continue and prioritize along with our goal of that in-person instruction for kindergarten through 6th grade on a daily basis. For 7th through 12th, we are looking at an alternate model. And so that alternate model would be based on the alphabet. If your student's last name is A through L, you would be in what we call Group A. If your student's last name is M through Z, you would be in Group B. And this goal, again, is just for our students who are attending in person, that A through L would attend one day, and then our M through Z would attend the next day. That only applies, again, to our 7th through 12th graders at this time. A little bit more detail about what that would look like. We wanted to give you a sample of January 11th and 12th. So on January 11th, how that would look is you would have your A through L last name students who were attending traditionally. They would still attend in person. Our distance learners then would log in and they would be active in that class if they have the last name of A through L. Our M through Z students would not be attending in person that day, and our M through Z last name students who are distance learners would have access to those asynchronous learning activities that their teacher already has predetermined for their schedule. On the very next day, January 12th, it would switch. Our M through Z individuals would be in person, and our A through L last name students would be at home. I know that may be a lot. We will be publishing a calendar so that you can look and see kind of how those dates fall. And this is very much tentative in the event that we need to have a contingency plan to start the second semester. In looking at current trends, I think we would be amiss to say that that doesn't look like something we need and probably will have to employ, but our board will vote on that officially on January 5th. To kind of summarize and talk about some realities of where we are, we understand that this instruction model is not the best instruction model on a daily basis for our students. From the beginning, what is best for our students instructionally is to be with their teacher in person every single day. This kind of takes away some of that. We also know devices. From a district standpoint, we have about 34,000 devices and we have 47,000 students. This helps by having K through 6 in person, and so that we hopefully can utilize some of our devices for our middle and high schools. Parents, if you have devices at home and your children are using a district device, but they now have a device at home, we would definitely appreciate them using their own device if they have that available. That would definitely help us as a district ensure that students that don't have a device at home can use a district device. For K-6, there is the event that we still will potentially have to close schools underneath this model. We very much hope so that is lessened by having less students in the building. We also have some very large kindergarten through 6th grades to where we may have to look at things differently in our elementary and middle schools based on that individual school because of the number of students. And lastly, we do want to make sure we get some input from our educators. So we'll be sending a survey today to them to get some input on this model. Again, this is just very much a contingency plan of looking where we need to be for the second semester. Just to kind of summarize, we wanted to make sure that we give you advance notice as much as possible. We would not be doing our due diligence if we weren't looking at the trends to see what does January potentially look like. And so this gives us that option. And we ask that you be aware that this is a changing situation. We will run this if it is passed and we need to implement it on a 4-week basis so that we are not switching continuously. And then you will have a week's notice or more to be able to determine what the next 4 weeks looks like by our school board. Again, just to summarize, probably the most important part is January 5th through 8th. We will be opening in a distance learning only option. And then this contingency plan, if approved, would go into effect on January 11th. Lastly, we sincerely appreciate everything that you have done in supporting our school district. If we could go back, of course, we would all do things differently, and that is what we are trying to do, is to adjust, and we appreciate your partnership. As a product of Rutherford County, I could not be more proud of the work that we do on a daily basis, by also understanding we always want to continue to improve. Thank you again for your partnership, and have a great holiday break.